Well, good evening, gang, and welcome to It's All About Arts. My name is Glenn Williams, and I'm your host. And to my right and to your left, of course, is the lovely Valerie Eliason. Hello, Val.
Hey, Glenn.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I missed you last week. I heard you did a great job. Staff here really treated you well. You had a good time last week with Solo in the show.
I did. It was fun. Our staff here is awesome.
Oh, they're fantastic. And I want to remind everybody, we're coming to you live from our beautiful studios here at B&N TV. And you're more than welcome to join us. We're at 617-708-3290. And the staff are in the other room answering the phones. Please give us a call. Let us know what's going on in your community, what artful things are happening to you. And we'd love to have you share them with us. So how did it go?
It was great.
I know that I gave you kind of a late notice on it, but I kind of found out late that the board meeting was coming up too, so.
You know, it's fun. I work good under pressure.
You do well under
and we all pulled together.
That's
we got through all the little technical hiccups, and it was a great show. We had awesome guests.
You know, live TV is one of those things that you can never tell what's going to happen and what's going to.
It's an adventure.
So it's definitely an adventure. It's old time TV right here in Boston.
Exactly.
It's a lot of fun.
So how did the meeting go? What new artful things?
It went. You know, one of the things they did for us was they took us on a tour. The newer members. I mean, I went on it last year. But we have some people that are new to the building. They took us around to show us some of the new things that are going on, and they've got a phenomenal theater there. They've got an amazing WGBH. We're talking about.
Yes.
They've got their recording studio. I was very, very interested in. It was such a dead room, and what I mean by a dead room is that the sound doesn't reverberate around. Everything's just true and right there. And they have these beautiful pianos that they wouldn't let me play.
They're gonna let you use the room eventually?
I know. It's all in negotiations.
Yes.
Thank you. But I wish I'd had my guitar with me, my classical guitar. Just
ukulele.
My ukulele there with me. It would have been a lot of fun to do that kind of thing. So.
That would have been awesome.
But that was a lot of fun, and we got to see inside how mainly the radio stations are doing, because that's some of the things we're talking about right now is getting the classical music out there more, drawing more people to listen to some of the classical music that's happening there, and how do we get people to understand it? How do we get so it's kind of like that's part of our mission this part of the year. So.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
That's a good mission. I love classical music.
Yeah, I do too. And one of the things I think that's important is to not just let people hear the classical music and say, well, this is what classical music is, but to kind of give the genre its due. Here's what you can listen to when this is going on.
Yes.
Here's something nice to listen to when you're relaxing and painting. Here's something to listen to while you're writing, or something of that nature. So.
Because classical music, I mean, I feel like people peg it all in one genre, but I mean, there's so many different, lively and soothing. And
there's absolutely different. There's full-blown orchestras down to quartets and solos. So there's lots of different things to listen to. How about yourself?
Exactly.
What have you been doing?
I went to the ballet with
what
my
did you
mom.
see?
Onegin.
Onegin.
I think I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Okay.
It's a Russian tragedy. Beautiful love story. I love the Boston Opera House.
Yeah, isn't that a great place?
Boston Ballet.
Since they've worked on that and done it over, it's just the premier room on the East Coast. It's an amazing place to go and be entertained.
It's just, even if there was nothing playing, just standing in the middle of the room staring at everything, it's just gorgeous.
I remember when we were at the conservatory, one of the things they did, they brought us over to the old one, and we got to go to Symphony Hall and stuff. And I don't think people understand that the architecture and the way these buildings and these rooms are designed. The professor left us in the middle of the stage and went all the way up to the first balcony, sat in the back seat back there, and had a conversation with us, just like we're talking here.
No kidding.
It was just so, the acoustics are just so perfect in these buildings.
Yeah.
And the Opera House, I know, was designed for that too. So I'm glad you enjoyed it. Mom enjoyed it?
Oh, she loved it. Yeah. And the music is always so beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. I'm glad you got to do that.
Yeah.
Anything else? Are you painting or drawing or?
Yeah, being painted and drawn a little bit.
Are you going to be in open studios this year? Well, you don't know yet.
I'm not entirely sure yet. I would love to be in open studios this year.
And Porch Fest is coming up?
Yep. Porch Fest is coming up.
Just so you know, gang, September 17th is the date for Porch Fest. And the first weekend in November is Open Studios. I know it seems like a long ways away, but believe me, these things crawl up on us so fast.
Yeah, they do.
That we want to make sure that, well, we'll be reminding you all during the summer and stuff about what's coming up.
Exactly.
What else is new?
I was part of a really, really awesome photo shoot yesterday.
Yeah, you were saying you went into, who was it clothes or?
Yeah, this really incredible designer, Creole is the designer's name, but I actually went to go help a friend of mine sort of build up her, she's a stylist, build up her portfolio, do headshots, and there just so happened to be this designer there that was working with a couple other models. She goes, I want you in this dress.
That's good.
So they yanked me out and popped me in this dress, and it was magical. It was really fun. I had a great time.
No, yeah, that's what you do that so well, though. I've looked at a lot of your work, and you make things look great. That's a talent in itself.
Thank you.
Yes. Well, we got a great show tonight, but we can't get to it just yet until we talk a little bit about our great benefactor here, the people that keep us on the air. We're very, very proud of our affiliation with the Boston Main Streets program. Boston Main Streets is that volunteer-driven organization that helps revitalize business districts around the city and around the globe now. They've just spread out. Because of the success of the program, they've become like the template to help revitalize business districts. And one of the things that they do is they work with the community. This is where I got involved there, because I don't own a business in Roslyn. I've lived there all my life, but they bring in people in the community, artists and leaders and people who kind of understand and know the fabric of the community and what the people are looking for, and work with them to make sure that the business district is compatible to the people that are living in that community. So they work with the property owners to make sure that they're getting the right kind of demographics, so they know what kind of business will work down in their storefront. Once the business is in there, there's a design committee that'll work and help with the way the front of the store looks, their signage and all of that, and the promotions committee, which this coming Saturday, speaking of the promotions committee, is the egg hunt in Rosendale down at Healy Field.
I heard that the person hosting the event is a good friend of her.
Yes, I'll be there hosting that event. You're sneaky, aren't you? But come on by and say hello, please, because it's going to be a big event. It's become such a great community event that we've outgrown Adams Park.
Yep.
So we really can't have it there anymore. So we have it down at...
There's thousands and thousands of people that attend.
Yeah, we do get a lot of people that come down. And all it is a celebration of the community. We put out all these 3-cent eggs, and the kids come and collect them, and there might be a nickel in one of them. I don't know, that kind of thing. But we find that what it is it ends up being this community gathering where people kind of catch up and talk about how they can't wait till the farmers market opens up pretty soon and stuff like that. So come on by and see us. And when you do, please, if you see somebody with a Main Streets t-shirt or jacket volunteering their hours there, thank them for the work that they do. Thank them for Val and I, please, because they support this program. They have for many years. And the only reason they're doing it is because they love where they live, just like you do.
Exactly. Yeah. And I heard there's actually going to be a baby animal petting.
There is. They're bringing little animals.
So, little babies.
It's one of my favorite parts.
Yep.
Aside from the chocolate candy.
Oh, yes.
But and the other thing we like to touch on is this amazing building that we're in. We're at BNN TV, which stands for Boston Neighborhood Network. And what it is it's Boston's community access station. And about 35 years ago, a bunch of congressmen and people got together and decided that the people of the communities needed a voice, needed someplace where they could go and talk about, free to speak their minds, and put programming together. And it has grown and blossomed into this incredible facility here on Washington Street in Eggleston Square. It is it was the power station. I heard someone asking before when we were coming in what the building was for. It used to be the power station for the Orange Line.
Yep.
And now we bought it about 8-9 years ago and turned it into these 2 state-of-the-art television studios. And Channel 9 is where nonprofits get to come and do their show and talk a little bit about their mission statement, get to talk, to bring people in as guests and ask them to share what their mission statement is. And then there's another station, which is Studio A, which is the community access station, where people get to come and do programming, learn how to do Final Cut Pro, learn how to do sound, lighting, engineering, all of that cool stuff.
Yep.
And sign out the equipment downstairs, go out and shoot the local road race. Egg hunt or something. Exactly. Very good. I like that. And, well, you know something, why don't we take a peek at what's going on at the other station, some of the kinds of things that they may do over there. And we'll be right back. Go to your station, turn it over to channel 23 for a second. Let's see what they're doing over there.
It's all in time, so we choose to hold on to and held tight on this sleepless night.
See, now that's, that's where musicians might come in. In fact, Tim Casey and I from Low Budget Records did a show over there called Transmission Hour, where we invited some of the top musicians in the New England area, came in and did a 5 cameras,
Nice.
32-track recording session, and we filmed it and edited it and would show it. It's called Transmission Hour. You can still see it now, so it's out and around everywhere. But that's where you can come in and do that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Do your own kind of television programming. And if you go to www.bnntv.org, click on the great Janice Williams or Jim Atwood's name, they'll have all the information for you.
Yeah. That Timothy Smith lab downstairs is
They
really
have a great
cool.
Timothy Smith was a benefactor 100 years ago who left a ton of money for the technology advancement of people in this community.
Yeah.
And they go around now, what they do with that money that's been endowed, and is doing great. And they put brand new state-of-the-art labs, computer labs.
Yes.
And so that's what we have. One of those Timothy Smith, one of those rare Timothy Smith labs is here at BNN TV. So we're really, really lucky for that, And one of the things that you can do if you go to www.bnntv.org is you can see us right now because we're streaming live.
Yep.
Oh, I forgot to say, Margaret and Leo, I think it is. Margaret and Leo in Philadelphia. Thank you for tuning in. They noticed that I wasn't here last week, but they watched the show anyways. They said it that way. I was kind of wait a minute, nags.
They said, hang on a second.
I'll watch it anyway.
That doesn't look like Glenn.
Right. But thank you for tuning in. And if you're out there again, we appreciate the email. Thank you an awful lot. So we got all these people that are kind of tuning in, like we have a guest that kind of says, hey, Aunt Marg, I'm going to be on TV. And they go to www.bnntv.org. Click on what's playing. Oh, that's enough.
Smiling faces.
That's enough for me. You got a Val's View today?
I do.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Well, thank you.
Okay, well, listen, we're going to take a break. We're going to take a couple of seconds off and we'll be right back with another exciting episode. Can I call it an episode?
Yeah.
Another version of
Edition.
Val's View. Edition. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes. Please, you're watching BNN TV's It's All About Arts. My name is Glenn. This is Val. And we'll be back in just a couple of minutes. Don't go away. Well, welcome back, gang. Thanks an awful lot for hanging in there. We're coming to you live from our beautiful Studio B here at BNN TV, and you're more than welcome to join us. We're at 617-708-3290. Listen, I have to mention before we go to Val that if you want to see this show again, it's going to be up live on our YouTube station. So if you go to your YouTube channel and type in the words "It's All About Arts" and the number 1, you'll get to our page where all of our shows are. And this one will be up around Wednesday. I don't like to make promises, but probably around Wednesday. And we also like you to please come and like our Facebook page. We're pushing closer to 1,000 likes, and we'd like you to be part of that. It's not just about what happens at this show. There's lots and lots of things about what goes on around the city and around New England, artfully. So please go there and check it out. But right now, it is time, and yes, it is. We're very, very excited about this segment of Val's View. Listen, you can read it in the if your electricity goes out and you can't get YouTube next week, you can find out all about this Val's View at the inside cover of the city paper. Val has a nice column there with Artful Gift, and it's all about art. So listen, gang, without further ado, it's time for another segment of Val's View.
Well, thank you, Glenn, for that wonderful introduction, as always. So we have a couple fun, awesome things going on in and around the city of Boston over the next few weeks. First off, we have the Boston Colors Dance. This is going on March 26th, so this week, from noon to 4 at Warehouse on Boylston Street in Boston. So the Boston Colors Dance is a celebration of the Hindu springtime event called Holi. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. But it's an incredible, fun, lively, awesome event where people come. It's encouraged to wear white shirts, clothes that you don't mind getting too dirty, because there's a lot of paint throwing and colored powder throwing, and it is spectacular. There's music, there's dancing. It's just one giant celebration of springtime and color. So definitely go check that out if you're interested, and make sure that you don't mind getting a little dirty. So, but yes, it'll be really fun. So second on our list, we have the Crafters Carnival. That's going on April 16th from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at Mass College of Art and Design. And this is an event put on by Mass College of Art and Design. A lot of students are going to be showcasing their work there. It's a one-day art sale and exhibition where you can come and see all these local artists, talk to them, maybe even purchase some of their art, see some of their works. There'll be lots and lots of local artists there. It'll be a really good chance to meet some of the great crafters that we have in Boston. There's also going to be some lectures that you can attend as well, guest speakers that are being talking about entrepreneurship. So if you're in the area, you want to check out some local art, maybe even buy a early Mother's Day gift, and it's creeping up around the corner, definitely check that out. And third on our list, we have the Boston International Film Festival. It's going on April 16th from 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. It's at the Paramount Center in Boston. So the Boston International Film Festival was created to celebrate the art of filmmaking and honor the filmmakers that make that all possible. So the festival goal is to encourage and support local, international filmmakers from all over the place, independent filmmakers, and aspiring filmmakers as well. So it's an incredible amount of different videos, movies, films. So definitely check out the website to see what's going to be playing and when, if you're interested in going. So I hope you get a chance to check out some of those fun things that are going on in and around the city of Boston. If you don't get to check them out here tonight, they're definitely going to be posted on our Facebook page. So it's always my pleasure to bring to you the events and festivals that are going on in and around the city of Boston. Without further ado, I'm going to throw it right back over to Glenn, and he's going to introduce our first guest. Back over to you, Glenn.
Well, thank you, Val. That was very good. Thanks an awful lot for being here. And I'm serious about that. If you want to go and check out Val's View, it is on the inside cover. Literally, open up and there it is, right there. And lots of other artful things that are going on. But right now, it's my great pleasure and honor to to introduce to you and welcome to our BNN said Gail Dickerson Spilsbury, right?
Yes.
Hello, Gail. How are you?
Very well.
Or do I
thank
call you GD?
No, call me Gail.
Thank you, Gail. I appreciate that. You are an author,
I am an author.
and you have some very, very successful books. One that we're going to talk about this year is That Year in Boston.
Right, it's a Boston book, which
It's
is
a Boston.
appropriate.
Imagine that. You're coming on Boston Cable to talk about a Boston book. But first, before we get there, let's learn a little bit about you.
All right.
How long have you been writing? I mean, I know that we all took the Palmer method in school, but I mean, writing as a craft.
Well, I started when I was very young. As soon as I could learn to write paragraphs, I wanted to write stories, and I wrote them. So I was in grammar school. And when I ran out of the energy to write fast enough, I drew pictures to tell the story
Oh, that's
instead.
amazing. That's
and
great.
I was typing by 5th grade because
Okay.
my father gave me an old typewriter, but I didn't do a great job, but I
But
was
you had the
typing.
tool, yeah.
I wanted to write stories, and I have written them ever since.
That's great. You have a very interesting job that you compensate your income with. You're an editor as well.
I'm a book editor.
You're a book editor, and so that means you must be able to read real well.
Well, I feel so fortunate that my day job is doing something I love, which
Yeah.
is books.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
dealing with
great.
books all the time, and even books that aren't as interesting as other books are still interesting. The material's always interesting.
Yeah.
Editing can be frustrating, but the content's there,
Yeah.
so in the end.
Do you edit your own work?
I edit it as I go along, yes, and I think all serious writers do. They edit themselves, but in the final draft,
You
they
have
want...
to turn it over to somebody,
Yes.
right? I mean, that's going to be a harrowing, proposition to take this
Humiliating.
book and say, oh, it's perfect. Here you go, and they come back with those red lines, and you go, wait a minute.
How did I not see that? It's true.
One of the things my bride is she's a writer as well, and she does a lot of articles, and she does a lot of little stories and stuff like that. And she has got a book full of rejection letters. And she doesn't throw any of them away because she teaches too, and it's one of the first things she shows the students is that this is a reality of being a scribe. Is that something that you've...
Well, I mean, we grow up hearing that writers who are successful have wallpapered their walls in their rejection slips first.
Yes.
And now we don't do that anymore. We just get emails or silence.
Oh, silence is bad. I
Silence
hate
is pretty
silence.
common now. In fact, the websites of agents, we go through agents now, and most of them say we don't take unsolicited manuscripts. But their sites say if you don't hear back from us in 2 months, it means your material wasn't right for us. We have such a volume of submissions.
If they don't take unsolicited manuscripts, then how does the newer writers of today...
Well, there are then agents who are starting out. There's always a new crop of agents
Okay.
who will look.
Yeah.
And so you...
So a writer probably has to kind of grow with an agency or an agent?
Right, I think, well, it's a very complicated business.
Yeah.
If you have a successful book, then the best agents, you're with them. But if you don't, nobody wants to take you if your first book wasn't successful.
Right,
That's
right,
a sign. It's a very complicated business.
And competitive.
There are many writers out
yeah,
there.
there's lots
We're
of
all
people.
writers.
Yeah.
We all have stories.
Do you set aside a specific time a day because I'm sure that your editing job takes up quite a bit of your day. Do you pick a specific time of day when you can sit down and know that there's not going to be any blocks?
Well, that's early morning. If I'm really in the heat of writing a book, where I'm actually writing, I get up between 3:30 and 4 in the morning and write until about 7 or
Okay.
8. And that's great. It's silent, it's quiet. I go to bed early in order to do that.
Yeah. Now, are you writing are you writing by hand or are you using the
I
modern
write
day
both.
tubes?
No, I do both. I often get started writing something new by hand and then switch over to my computer because it's so much faster with my fingers.
Well, once you're flowing, I suppose, but once you got to get that theory statement out there.
And also, once you're flowing, you're lost in that world and you don't even know you're on a computer.
Yeah. Well, I do want to talk about some of these, but this book here I want to talk about. Now, I've looked through all of your books, and I couldn't really read this one. I tried to,
I know.
but I couldn't get very far.
Because it's in Italian.
It's in Italian. What's that like? What's that feeling like to have written something that you know. And
Well, yeah.
They've loved it so much that they've put it in another language.
Well, I
for
was
it.
living there, and that was the market for it.
Yeah.
It's a book about living in the hills outside Rome and making olive oil, and it's 4 stories for the 4 seasons that agriculture in the olive hills
Okay, yeah,
does.
yeah.
And I can read Italian, but this book is hard. I wrote it in English, and it was translated, and I have found it very difficult to read. The vocabulary is
Do you
way
speak
beyond
Italian?
me. I do. I'm a little rusty, but it's easier to read.
And I do want you to touch just a little bit on the Washington
Yeah,
sketchbook.
I think this is a
amazing.
universal book.
This is an amazing book.
I love the city of Washington.
Yeah, let me hold it up so that we can get a good.
I lived there for many years, and this book is about the outdoors and the beautiful spots along the Potomac that have actually been preserved
Right.
by the community. They've
Yeah.
kept it up. And I discovered the drawings by a man named Dickinson who was there for World War I. And he left his drawings before he died in the Library of Congress, where I found them, and no one had touched his drawings in those 60 years.
This is a book of.
These are his drawings. And I went and researched, I walked his footsteps to research the places that he drew, and then found archives that told a little bit about them.
Like Glen Echoes, right?
Right, Glen Echo. And may I show
Yes,
you the
please
most...
take.
Well,
this is the fascinating part that I
Yeah,
wanted
the
people to
back.
see is the
map.
prize at the end of the book.
Right. I found his grandchildren. He died in 1950. His grandchildren were already in their 80s, and they're in their 90s now. One has died. And they gave me this map to reproduce for the back of the book, which shows the Potomac River. Dickinson drew this map.
This is
and he
amazing.
hand wrote how you get to the little watering holes, how you get to the little trails, and what it was like in 1917 to 18 to have recreation along the Potomac. And it's so different today. People used to camp out at night and
Yeah.
paddle down to work in the morning in the summers.
Right. That's great to preserve that piece of history right there. I
Right.
think is a huge accomplishment. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
But let's talk about that year in Boston.
Well, I'm from Boston.
Right.
And I spent a lot of my career in D.C. And so
I think we have a picture of this on the card. We'll see if you can.
Right, I wanted a cover that was emblematic of Boston, and the swan boats are.
Yeah, that'll take you
And
right
I wanted
to
a
it.
title that had Boston in it, so
Yeah.
people who love Boston would want to pick it up.
Now, it's a departure. It's a novel.
It's a novel, and that's while I was living in Washington and raising children, and I have 2 degrees in history. I wrote history,
Yeah.
but I was writing stories and screenplays on the side.
Yeah.
But once my children were grown, I returned to stories and fiction. And so this is my
Which
first...
do you prefer, research,
Oh, I know.
research or the
Well, I
story?
research my novels also.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you don't want to call it the duck boats.
The what?
You don't want to call it the duck boats when it's supposed to be the swan boats, right?
No.
So you got to get it right.
Right.
Tell me a little bit, without giving it away.
Well, having grown up here, you did
Yep,
too.
yep.
You know, I always had a fascination for the colonial history. And
Is that the time?
No, it's right now, contemporary.
Oh, contemporary, great.
And I have a publishing background, and I wanted to have a theme about today's publishing scene. This takes place in 1913 to 14. And when I was writing the novel about publishing today, and there's editors in there, and how publishing was fighting for its life with the digital age, and it has survived. Publishing has survived. So there's a Churchill publishing company that's going down the tubes because of the digital age, and other publishers in Boston are being bought out by the large companies. But these editors, one is brought in from New York to try to save the company. And so that's the story. This new York editor comes in.
Is there romance?
Yes.
Okay, good.
The
There's
New
gotta
York
be a little
editor
romance.
falls in love with the Boston editor.
Oh, good.
And they have an adventure in Brazil because the New York editor takes on a manuscript too hastily, which turns out to be a scandal, a publishing scandal.
Don't give too
Right.
much away. Come on, well, all
No.
those publishing scandals, you know?
Right.
I want to thank you so much for coming. Where can people
Sure.
get these? Can they go to Barnes & Nobles and all
Yes,
that
they
places? All
can.
the typical places?
Yes, I think Rock Creek Park, though. Rock Creek Park is sold out. But there's used copies on Amazon. It was published
Boy,
in 2004.
what's that feeling like?
Well, you know, it was
People
a
buying used
historic
copies
book,
of your book.
and and it had a niche market in Washington.
I
So
went into Boomerangs once and found 2 of my CDs
You
in the
did?
used CD
I wish I had
bin.
gotten there first. I would have swapped.
99
Poop them
cents.
up. Well, thank you.
Thank you very much for coming in. Please, don't
been a pleasure.
Don't be a stranger. Please come back in. I know that you're working with the great. You with Suzanne?
Yes.
Suzanne Schultz, who's doing great things.
Wonderful things.
For our community and the artists in it. And is there anything on the burner now?
Oh,
You're writing
yes.
about local cable TV shows.
I have another novel set in Boston, and I'm working on getting it published.
Thank you, Gail.
Thank
It
you.
was my pleasure to have you. That didn't hurt too much, did it?
No.
Okay, great. Well, listen, gang, you're watching BNN TV's It's All About Arts. Don't go away.
All right.
And my name's Glenn. That's Gail, by the way, if you're tuning in late, but you can see it pretty soon on YouTube. Listen, gang, we'll be back in just a couple of minutes. We've got another great guest. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
Different view, dream come true. Bolts of lightning from the it's upside down, it turns around. Still this rock and roll fits you. Feel good time, a friend of mine is giving eyesight to the blind. Electric wires, they never tire. They echo from a distant time. All that I can, you can show me a better plan than to jam the night away. This rock and roll will be the death of me. I'm suffocating in a melody, perfect harmony. Things I see on my TV, the death throes of society. I lost my soul to rock and roll. This rock and roll will set you free.
Well, welcome back, gang. Thanks an awful lot for hanging in there with us. If you remember, a couple of weeks ago, we were celebrating here at BNN, and we were bringing some people in that have been affiliated with the show in the past when we had our gallery thing out there. And out of the blue, an old friend got in contact with us, and I said, right away, we've got to get you in to talk, and it's my great pleasure, not to reintroduce you, but to say hello and welcome back to the set, a past co-host and good friend, Meme Sue. Hello,
Hi.
how are you?
I'm great.
Good
How are you?
Very well, it's good to see you.
It's great to be back.
Thank you very much for getting in contact with us.
Of
I wasn't
course.
sure what was going on.
Yeah, I
with
sort
you.
of just dropped off.
Yeah, no, you've been very, very busy. Don't give us that. What have you been up to?
So since I was here last, I decided that it would be a great idea to try and do college in 3.5 years instead of 4.
How'd that
Yeah.
work out for you?
Well, I'm finished.
Yeah, congratulations.
So I did. Yeah,
Congratulations.
I did it. Yeah. So
Yeah.
so I've been working away, slaving away. I got my
Good.
degree, and it's.
What's your
kinda-
degree in?
So technically speaking, I have a BA. I can say that now, which sounds totally weird, but I have a BA in psychology and a minor in media studies.
Okay, now it's the media studies that we're interested.
Of course, yeah.
Interested in. One of the things that we talked about a couple of weeks ago was when Mr. Kurt was here and Carol O'Connor was here and all of Val and my art was the art hanging out in the gallery, and we thought we'd take an opportunity to talk about the show. What are some of the things you remember about being a co-host here on BNN? I know that it's gotten people to be more involved in being in media. Carol O'Connor talks about now she's a producer and she's doing things on other stations all over New England and stuff. Is there anything that you plan on doing with some of the things you might have experienced here?
Yeah, sure. I think I've always sort of had that passion for media, broadcasting, entertainment, co-hosting,
Yeah.
and I think being here originally gives you that little spark and that little flavor of what it's
Well, it's
what
a
like.
little taste of what it's. Well, I shouldn't say it's a little taste. I mean,
It's a taste. It's a full taste.
Yeah, it's actually what TV production.
Full 3-course meal.
Full, there you go. Not just a taste, but a full 3-course meal.
Maybe not after dinner cigars and cocktails, but it's as close as it does get. And I think the fact that it's live production makes you
Yes.
kind of have to work on your feet,
Yeah, and I think like that's sort of what all of the Tonight Show and all
Yeah.
the daytime TV and late night. That's what's out there right now.
Yep.
And so it gives people, like we said, a taste or
Yeah.
a 3-course meal of what it's supposed to be like, and gives you a chance to get in there and really find your passion.
Right. What kind of? I mean, what do you see yourself doing in media as you start to look? I know that you're looking right now, aren't you?
I'm on the epic job search, and it's epic.
I'm sure it
Epic.
is. What kind of things are you looking at?
Right now, I'm looking at anything to do with social media, broadcasting, anything that I can get my hands in with that in corporate or at a television station. I worked at GBH my sophomore year,
Yep.
and I loved it there. Another taste of what that world is like. I think big, long-term goals and dreams. I'd like to have my own TV show. But that's like long term, but
Off in the future.
off in the future. So
Well, one of the things that a lot of corporate companies do have is they do have their own kind of small production companies that go out and do these little things to do their own advertising, because it's become such a business and such an industry that you can't go to EMI, you can't go to all these Sonys and stuff and expect them to do the work for you.
Yep.
It has now shrunk down to where you can be doing a lot of this stuff on your own. Is there any of the technical end of this business that you've kind of gotten familiar with?
So the technical end is sort of, I think I got my taste of that when I was at GBH. I was on
Yeah.
set all the time. I was working. It's kind of crazy because they technically speaking don't do live shows, but
Yeah.
they don't have enough time to go back and edit. They kind of want to get everything up and going.
Yep.
So it's staying like 5 steps ahead of your producer, making sure that you're anticipating their needs so they don't have to ask you to do something, and just sort of doing all of that behind the scenes work that no one really sees, but it keeps the big machine running.
Right. What kind of things were you working on at GBH?
I was at High School Quiz Show, which was fun. I got to deal with a lot of high school students. And that was interesting because I wasn't that much older than they
Yeah, I
were.
know. Yeah.
So it's like, okay. But a lot of that was dealing with their social media, trying to promote their shows, getting audience participation, recruiting audience members and casting for that, doing some casting for they did a Red Sox baseball legend episode that I helped cast with them for that, dealing with Billy Costa, getting the pleasure to work with Billy Costa,
Yeah.
which was great. He's like such an amazing person. So, I got to be in the control room and push all the buttons when I was supposed to. So it was
See, I think that
fun.
sometimes people don't realize the technical end, what those three guys are doing. in
Yeah,
there.
it's a lot of work.
It's an awful lot of work, especially and you're right about the way a lot of production companies now are doing. They're not doing it, say it again, then going and looking for the favorite one. They want you to get it right.
Right.
It's better to kind of get what you're doing down so that we don't have to go through all of that.
Exactly.
There's a lot of stuff behind. There's
Yeah.
a lot of button pushing,
There is
like you
there
said.
are
My
a lot of button
gosh,
pushing,
if we
yeah.
could do a close-up of the buttons they have back there.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
One of these days,
Thousands.
because it's an art show, one of these days we should show the art of doing television.
Yeah.
Maybe we should get our cameras in here and kind of turn them on these guys, and let them see what it's real. Let the public find out. I knew I'd get that. Let the public know what it's
They
really
look
like.
so
Yeah.
excited.
That's what we'll do. We'll turn the cameras around one of these days. Because I don't think people appreciate what really kind of goes
Yeah.
into this. And I'm the first one to say, I like doing it live. Because then I don't have to go back and kind of, I would nitpick it to
I
death.
know.
Because I'm in the recording studio. I'm in the recording, and it's you're nitpicking to
I know.
death. And it's just so much work that's not necessary.
Live, it's out there, it's gone, it's see you later.
Yeah.
Can't go back.
It's great that it's like that. Though.
Yeah, well, I think it puts a little bit of energy in the show. Kind of makes
Totally.
it a little exciting.
Yeah, definitely.
Val has really come along as doing her Val's View segment that I kind of threw at her, and there's been a couple of times when she's had to host the show herself. Last week, for instance. What's the first thing that goes through your head, Val, when it comes time to do this? Is it there he goes again, and or how dare
I
that
remember
Glenn?
the first time what went through my head was that big red light that's right over the camera staring back at you like this one is right now. That's what went through my head first. But you got to kind of roll with the punches. I mean, you got to play with it. You got to have fun with it. I remember there were a couple episodes where I would try to do Val in two places at once, and I'd be running from the desk over to the green screen and back over again. You try to have fun with it, 'cause,
Yeah.
I mean, you can't take it too seriously. It's you got to be able to enjoy yourself,
Right.
because I mean that's how our viewers
Right.
enjoy.
I think that's how they appreciate. You know that we don't script this show.
Yeah.
It's kind of sit down and let's let it fly and let's see what happens. How do you handle that?
Okay, so similar to you, I love the live.
Yeah.
I also love doing scripted stuff too. I did, theater and acting back
did a
in
lot of
my
theater,
day.
yeah.
Yeah, and that has its place too, but I feel like for me, I think it's so much more exciting to be in person and to have that extra adrenaline kick and be able to talk with someone instead of having everything scripted.
Yeah.
So it's
How do you get
fun.
how do you get past the fear of saying ooh?
I don't think anyone really gets totally past that fear. But, for me, and I've actually been trying to consciously not do all of the fillers as much.
Yeah.
And it's hard, but whenever you think in your head of saying like or or I just pause. And
Yeah.
instead of filling it with a filler, just pause for a second.
Right. You
Instead
don't
of-
always have to have. You're
Yeah.
right. It's okay to have a pause. They'll go crazy. in there, and I've gotten waves from the other room about but
Depends how long the pause is.
It's like
You're
5
just
minutes
blankly
long.
staring back at the camera.
That would be awkward.
I've had David come out and say, Glenn, we're still on. I think, well, the more you do it, I think.
Yes, that
You
is
know?
true, and
I mean,
practice.
that whole beginning segment, super producer Janice has said to me, you got that down. It's time to stop maybe throwing some other things and try and be a little more spontaneous with it. Because I could sit here and do that again. And it's
Yeah.
just because I've been doing it for so long. But it's good to have those other ears and those other eyes and people kind of giving you a critique. It's important to get that.
Yes, I agree. As much as you don't sometimes want to hear it.
Well, I think that if you don't listen to it, you're kind of blinding yourself
Totally.
to what's, you
Yep.
know, what's productive.
Totally.
What about you, Val? Do you see yourself in the future being the host of your own morning show on Fox News?
Jeez,
Not
maybe
Fox,
not
please.
on Fox
Please,
News.
not on Fox.
You know, I don't know. Though the world is my oyster,
Yeah,
right?
it is. It is. It is. Val is striving out there and doing some great things on her own. She's a phenomenal artist. We already know that, and I think that she should pursue this too. You know.
Yeah.
Gail.
I mean, we're in a non-profit building right now, you know, and I've been asked, well, Glenn, why don't you go and audition for the? Please.
Nah.
Please.
Too much work.
I've gotten to the my mountaintop here. That's enough for me. But it is a lot of fun. Have you been theatering at all?
I've been dancing.
Have you?
In
Okay.
the theater.
What's been going
No
on?
kidding.
Yes. Do you dance there?
I ballet dabble a little bit.
She
down
is
there.
a ballet
I
dancer.
dabble in ballet.
Okay, dabble
Lovely.
is valid. Any sort of dancing is valid. Yeah, so dancing at school, I've been taking drop-in classes up in Cambridge.
Oh, nice.
Just having fun, and I think dance is something that, you know, I'm 21, right? And I already feel like I'm 90, 100 years old. It's so bad, and I go around like cracking my jaw. It's so bad. I should
Don't do it.
It's
This one here can crack every bone in her body. It's amazing.
and it feels so good though. You do it, and everyone's like, "Oh
Freaks
my God.
everyone out.
Yeah,
My
but
roommate gets
We're in
nauseous.
Cambridge.
She has to leave the room. Like,
gotta do it."
Where in Cambridge are you dancing? 'Cause
It's so it's right in Central Square.
What's the place we went to see a show?
that oh gosh.
There's a place right in Central Square around the corner from.
Complex.
You walk upstairs.
Dance complex.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a general PSA. April 1st through 3rd, there's going to be a showcase actually at the dance complex.
Oh, really?
I believe it's at 7.
Can you get that information to us so we
Yes,
can get it on to
right up,
Val's
and
View or something?
I will be in it.
Oh, even better.
So it has to be in a Val's View.
Yes. Yeah, so you have to come and
Would
watch,
love to come.
do some avant-garde modern.
We enjoyed it last time we
Yeah,
were
we
there.
did. That was really fun.
We
My
would-
favorite was the sort of interpretive dance they did about student loans.
Oh,
That
yes.
was good.
It was a workshop where they gave these dances. They were there for 24 hours. They couldn't leave the place,
Holy
and they
cow.
gave different groups
Yep.
a topic, and they had to write the whole
Wow.
thing.
That's incredible.
Oh, it was very exciting.
amazing.
Yeah. It was neat.
We gotta have them back on.
Well, I'm glad that you're still dancing.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, I think it's time to say goodbye.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, hang in there, gang. There's another show right after us. The Greek program will be on, and they've got great things that they're doing as well here at BNN. Amy, thank you.
Thank you so
No,
much.
thanks for contacting us. Don't be a
Yeah.
stranger. And especially with the dancing thing, let us
Yes.
keep us informed so
I
that
will.
we can
Of course.
let everybody know. Right, Val?
Exactly.
Hey, listen, gang, thanks an awful lot for being here with us tonight. My name is Glenn. This is Mame. This is Valerie. Listen, we'll get out and do something artful for yourself. Look up that Val's View, check it out. Maybe go and see some of that stuff that's happening around the New England area. And as we like to say every week, please keep in the forefront of your minds our mothers, fathers, sons and daughters, aunts and uncles, nieces and nephews on foreign soil. Please get out, do something artful. Do it for them. They'll really appreciate it, right?
Yes.
Right.
of
And a
course.
happy early birthday to Glenn.
Oh, that's right. My birthday is coming up. You know how old
Yes,
I'm
I
going to
do.
be? Miss 21?
35.
35. We'll stay
you
with
go.
that. Okay, gang. Listen, gang, we'll see you next week, okay? Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.